Wrestling by the sea, wrestling Colosseum, baby, in the sea. Hello, there's a Colossus you're looking for. You've been one in wrestling for yore, from Deal to Herne Bay. Now we're finally here. Hooray.
Everybody, welcome to the return of a Colossal Effort Podcast with myself, T.A. Cooper, Jordan Breaks, and now we have, depending on how he wants to be referred to on the podcast, the third of the four members that we promised to bring you to the podcast. This is Adam Libinati Roche, aka Bacon Chin.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you are.
The assignment there was from Jordan before we came on air, was we all had to invent the jingle for the podcast that isn't the normal Rumble by the Sea, and let us know in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought is the best intro to the podcast.
So that's a wrap, right?
Yeah, that's us done. So thank you very much. That's episode 2, and we're out of here. She of this, not because she thinks it's shit, but because she just has no interest in being a part of it. If anything, when we get to thoughts and feelings, reflections on the show that just happened, Invasion of the Body Slammers, check it out on, I don't know where. It'll be on YouTube in a bit.
I would hope so.
But she said, well, she had thoughts and she had feelings, and she said to pass those on as and when it's relevant. But for now, I don't know. I'm not really a podcast host, am I? How's everybody doing? What do we all have for tea?
I had fish.
That's it. Just fish.
Just a bit of potato.
Ooh. Whoa.
I was going to say, I'm glad you had something else. There's more space on the plate.
A secret thread for a bit later on in the podcast. Ooh. Don't click off. Make sure we get the high retention rate with those sort of cliffhangers. Adam, yourself, what did you have for tea?
I don't know, just thinking that AI is even going to struggle to find a cliff with that. Just like, wow, he had fish. How do we make this interesting? What do we say? I haven't eaten dinner.
Speaking of thanks to, and doing some shout outs, thank you very much to Northdown Brewery for sponsoring this podcast in so many ways. I don't know, they're at least in collaboration with us and Pro Wrestling Colossus these days. It was very cool to have them on board. Literally from the jump, like the first one, like we didn't even have content with them by that point, and obviously we'll talk about the content in a little bit. But thank you very much to Northdown again for supporting us, the thing.
Big thanks. I want to see if this works. Let me see if something's going to work. Keep open settings. I need to. It's just saying thanks to Northdown for something. Where is it? Keep going. Riverside didn't do what I wanted it to do.
Adam from Budgeon's Broadstairs, who listens. I say listen to the podcast. We've only done one, but listened to the podcast.
He's listened to 100% of our episodes. The entirety of our back catalogue, Adam has heard.
Him and so many others of the TPW roster have listened to this whole thing all the way through. But mainly thank you to him because something's coming up.
Oh, man. What's he doing?
Is it there?
Is it supposed to be that picture?
It's the bit from the video.
Oh,
I wanted it to come up at the same time you're thanking Northdown.
A little product placement. Thank you so much to Northdown Brewery. But yeah, no, thank you to Adam from Broadstairs Budgeons, who heard the podcast episode last time, heard how much Jordan and I need donuts and or pizza, and delivered 24? Was it 24?
It was a fair few.
I'm trying to remember how big the box. Yeah, 6. Yeah, four boxes of 6 of delicious donuts. Oh, like I wouldn't.
There was only 24.
Yeah,
I ate 12.
What? Because from what I know, and again, this is shout out to the crew as well, everybody who came and helped at Pro Wrestling Colossus. But I'm sorry, you weren't allowed to be the donuts. Mind you, there was the Colossus afters where we all went to the pub, and I dropped 2 of the boxes on them. So there was like free range to get involved in the donuts. But if you did miss out, I'm sorry, you weren't allowed to be a part of it because it was quite a big deal to be putting something like this together and just reaping the rewards of freebies from wonderful people of Thanet. So, and again, they were like proper like Krispy Kreme Dunkin' Donut level donuts. They weren't just like, like the pick and mix is the wrong word, but the ones where you would get them from the bakery section. It's just like the glaze or
no. These were deluxe. They were
deluxe.
They're fantastic donuts. They
That's the paint
fillings
brand.
and toppings, and yeah, like we just threw it into the universe, and the universe gave back.
Right, because I feel like people might have thought, oh, like they want pizza or donuts to like increase the range of options at the shop. No, we wanted pizza or donuts for ourselves and for management and for the inner circle. There's no inner circle. No, but thank you so much to the kind people like Adam and like all the people who like Adam from Budgeons, like Adam right here, who's part of the team. His girlfriend, my girlfriend, Jordan's girlfriend, all the trainees, all of our friends who came, and just I really appreciate that a lot. So that's all I have.
No, I was just going to say thanks for putting both Jordan and myself over for having partners. Like, it's real kind of you there. Just like, oh, my girlfriend, Jordan's girlfriend, Adam's girlfriend. Say, oh yeah, thanks. We're all good. We're all hitched.
I don't know if you
guys. I think it went really well.
Furious that they didn't get named.
I was about to say the same thing.
Okay, fair enough. To Emily, and Grace, and all the other wives out there. Thank you very much for your help.
Oh, it's gone even worse.
I'll fix it in post. I'll never
fix it in post.
You can't bleep it.
Oh, notes.
Not that long ago, and I think obviously between the 3-4 of us, it's not really worth saying that a million times, but you know what I'm talking about. Between the group of us who put the show together, it is interesting to get, I would say, but between the three of us here anyway, have 3 different perspectives on it. Even though Jordan and I are both like wrestlers / promoters, and yourself, Adam, you're over there in the sign station. You actually have I say you have the liberty of watching the whole show, but you were in a dinosaur, blow up dinosaur costume. So I don't know how much of the show you actually did see and merely just experienced through like osmosis.
That was you?
Yeah, man, it wasn't a real dinosaur this time.
It's fake. I knew it. Could you see?
No.
Were you sweating out?
Not much at all. Yeah, I was sweating like through it the whole time, but I kind of, after we had a conversation about how TK's match was going to end, I thought, well, I need to kind of be in it for at least, like, say, before the match began, to kind of make people aware that the dinosaur existed again. And then for the whole match, I think I was in it for like 25 minutes. And by the end of like that bit, I was like a waterfall. You know, like, obviously I can't do what you guys do in the ring. I am exceedingly unfit. So being in that outfit for 25 minutes in the heat was we'll get to that possibly. Who knows?
Considering how horrible the weather was on the day as well, like, it was only going to be either muggy or like just a horrible experience for yourself. Anyway, it was a cool costume, but I assume a painful experience to be stuck in like a not vinyl, is it like plastic, just full of was it like regurgitated air? I can't think of what the word is. Not carbon dioxide. It just like cycles the same air around and around to keep the costume blown up.
Did you buy it?
It was much better to be in it though. Yeah, I bought it for the occasion, but even though it was raining, it was much better to be in it on show 2 than I guess on show 1, because you know that would have been terrible, because I would have had to have been in there in like just boxer shorts, and it's a children's show, so like there would be no way of just being like, oh, I need some fresh air, because then we wouldn't have had show 2. But we've still got it, so we can use it again.
It's so versatile.
So fun.
That is one of the things I did want to bring up, though, like the weather on the day of the show, which I didn't think would have that much of an impact on the show, but like the amount of tickets we had sold, and then compared to the amount of tickets we sold on the door for the first show, like there was such a dip in door sales this time around, and obviously that you can't prepare for planet Earth, like it just is going to happen, and I'm sure this is like a universal problem any promoter of any type of event faces, is that when the weather is crap, people are just like, can't be bothered. So like we were pretty much spot on, like I think like the exact same in terms of pre-sales for this show, which if anything is a better indictment of our work on the first show. You know, everyone always says that the first show people will come because they're just curiosity, because it's a new thing. People are like, oh yeah, I'll go have a look. Then you've got like friends and family.
A lot of people being polite.
Yeah, promising to come down to just be like, oh, we'll support you in your weird little hobby. But for the second show to kind of hit the same numbers, but then only take a dip in door sales because like if people have the freedom to choose, if they haven't already spent their money, then they're not as like married to coming. But yeah, like, and again, it was only like total. I can't remember. Like the first show, I know we did 96 because I was like begging us to get to 100 because I was gonna have a beer if we did. This time around, I wasn't so married to any kind of ultimatum, but we definitely had like less people in the room total. But like the atmosphere at Invasion was like arguably like pretty much picked up where we left off for the first one. I thought
the atmosphere is wild. People were just so into it from match one. I mean, it helps that we had a total pro in Mills kicking off the show, but like, and it helps that our beers were so cheap.
Sure. You know, like when we're talking about like the rain and stuff, I find it real interesting. Like we're doing this kind of for the first time, and I was always checking in the lead up to the weekend, like what's it going to be like weather-wise, because we don't have the luxury of having a massive venue. So it's that decision of like, okay, it's like we had that conversation about the wet floor sign.
We did.
Just like it's wet outside. Oh no, this like it's how do we kind of deal with all of this? And like it's just as we're about to start, and then it kind of just went. The rain was like, yeah, let's go, like let's go, and went to downpour, and we knew there were people outside. It's like, what do we do? Like because with wrestling, there are people in the ring practicing for things, so you can't exactly cut them off. And we didn't have anywhere to put any of the punters outside, so I find it like in a complete contrast to say, and this is where I'm leading up to, in complete contrast to show one, where people are outside in the sunshine, and one of the bit of feedback we got was it would have been nicer to be let in sooner. But then for show two, we didn't get any of that from anyone, and they were just, and it was shitting it down.
We got from show one, like that note in particular, before, like while everybody was setting up their own things, I got the back of a poster, attached it to the front door, and like specifically wrote doors open at 5, show starts 5:30, which like that was people's alleged main confusion from the first show, right? That they like didn't know that this meant this and this meant that. So I just wanted to make sure that when people get to the front door, I also locked the front door, so that was the other reason people couldn't just come in. But well, I just wanted it to be explicit.
Not the virus.
Well, it's what you're saying, Adam. Really, like there are people, like there's performers practice stuff, and you don't want to like ruin the or peel the curtain too far back where punters just going to come in. Because again, yeah, it's like what you're saying about we don't have a theater, so we don't have like a foyer. There's literally just a hallway, and then you're in the venue. And I don't know what's worse, being stuck out in the rain for a couple of minutes, or being like shoulder to shoulder with somebody you don't know and somebody's kids that you don't know in that little holding spot. I say holding spot, in that hallway right next to the toilet. So it's
ain't it crazy that
we did
like
yeah.
Oh god. I was just saying, like, ain't it crazy, like all it took was just to put something on the door for show two, and people are like, fine. Even when you kind of think like, oh, we've put it all over social media, we put it on the post, it's all over the poster. This is when doors, this is when it begins. But still, a sign written on the back of a poster, kind of like stuck on the door, just does it.
You can't make it too obvious, is what I've found. Yeah, because that's literally, we put it on every single social media post. Like, this is the venue, this is the postcode, this is the time doors open, this is the time the show starts, this is all the talent that are on the show, this is the link to buy the tickets, like just as spoon-fed as you can possibly get, in the hopes that like all questions are mitigated. And then, yeah, on the day, just putting it on the door to just be so explicit of this is the information you need to know. We'll see you at this time. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't want to derail stuff derail the conversation. I just think it's real interesting because I don't do this for a living, putting stuff on. So whenever I see weird little things like that, I kind of like take note of it. And then it's this other thing. It's not like a weird thing to take note of, but everywhere I go, and I know Jordan's had it, I know Taz, you've had it. I haven't because I'm not in the videos, of just like getting recognized for those social videos that are still doing really well.
Thanks for the plug.
Like,
to become like Margate pseudo celebrities, but I guess like if you see a video and you see someone you saw in that video, you would naturally be like, oh my god, that person from that thing I saw. But we were waiting in the Shakespeare to pick up Mills because he had a seminar he was doing at the TPW Academy the night before our show, and we were just like having a half pint waiting for him. And then the owner of the Shakespeare like came past, did like a little double take, and it was like, "Oh my god, you're the guys from the video. Thank you so much for filming that." And we were like, "Hey, it's just if anything, is not just a pleasure, but like a benefit to us to film. Obviously, like getting the again for our first show, just getting like the clout and the attachment to the pub that already had like X amount of following, and we're just kind of like riding the coattails."
I think
improve the what would you call it, the like visibility of Colossus, and hopefully has not that we ever had like a bad standing, but just improve the perception of the promotion. Hopefully brings more people down to the show just to come have some fun, and obviously more people at the show means more opportunity, or a bigger opportunity for all the trainees to perform in front of a bigger crowd that isn't like the little showcase shows that we do every so often anyway at the TPW Academy.
if I like trying to like point out one thing, like what Jordan, what went like wrong? Did anything go wrong this time? Because I can't remember anything going wrong. But then I don't see 90% of the things that you both see.
We didn't stick out enough chairs again. I feel like literally as we opened, I was running around like a bit of a madman in my Scooby-Doo outfit.
That's like that brings me back to that weird to another thing from the Curry debrief. Like, where do you put the entrance from, like, for when the wrestlers come in?
I like
trying to figure all that out.
Because we were talking about, do we stick it at the back, right? And so that the wrestler would have to walk past and through the crowd. But I do, in terms of everyone uses that one entrance. I think the issue was that we had potentially oversold front row, or people were ending up in front row that hadn't bought front row. And so we're having to stick out extra chairs, which eliminated the gap in the middle, started to like sides, and so it just got closer to the entrance. I think that was the concern, right?
You'll be pleased to know, like, that's not a problem that's unique to us. I remember at Progress, it used to come up all the time. Like, people had bought front row, and then people had bought like gold and decided just to sit in front row. So it got to a point of where they had to kind of like figure out a way to do like your different colored wristbands. And even then, people used to swap wristbands with people and then just either take off their wristbands, say they lost it, and just sit there anyway. And it caused like the most amount of kerfuffle, like pointless kerfuffle.
Which I can kind of understand on a bigger scale with like a program or a Rev Pro. There's just so many more people to manage. Where this is like, we're so small time, we're just like a teeny tiny drop in the bucket.
Hey,
in terms of
whoa, calm down. It's big time over here.
Well, you know what I mean. Like we're just like we're only growing. We're just a little on our way up, sort of thing at the moment. And best case scenario, front row at this moment, there's only 33 of them. So like that's not a lot of people to have to manage. But even still, we're getting some sneaky people out of second row trying to get that £5 freebie, and we know who you are because like
piece of shits.
Anything particularly going like wrong to Jordan, where I just had so many other jobs I was doing behind the scenes, as well as trying to get ready for my own match, to put in place that it was hard to really keep an eye on the show, as well as doing like a million other things. So if it didn't look like, from your perspective anyway, Adam, that from watching from a punter's perspective of on that side of the curtain, the show seemed to go from start to finish without any hiccups or any blips, then I suppose that's good that we managed to take care of that stuff backstage without it leaking out into the actual show.
I mean, not a problem, a great thing if anything, but we did sell out of beers just at half time, I think.
An interesting problem to have.
Yeah, which is like what we want.
Oh no!
It would have been
Oh no!
great if we just picked up that third slab.
But how? Yeah, I suppose it's like how
We
how
want
are
to know
we
that.
to know where we didn't sell beer on the first show, and then again, it's just one of those like learning things. Of now we know that we need minimum at least 3 slabs of San Miguel or whatever beer is going at Booker's.
Yeah, whatever's cheap. I would rather buy and have some left over than sell out at half time again. We had to send Grace, my partner, to the shops halfway through to buy beers. Yeah.
So I guess like realistically, the problems we had, and I don't know if there was multiple, but like the problems we had weren't really like show or like performance based. It was more like admin stuff like that, and then there was other, again, not problems, but like actually now I'm thinking about it, like the raffle thing where the raffle book ran out and people were still interested in buying raffle tickets, where like, all of these like little crumbs of what's the term I've heard Matt Cardona use, like crumbs make the crumb cake. So in terms of like different streams of income on the show, helping to build the Scotty Too Hottie wage pot.
Have found.
If we raffle tickets and people are still interested in buying raffle tickets, and we've done ourselves a disservice, and we're missing out on like the £6-7 people are gonna put into like getting a strip and stuff. And fair play to Jack, and maybe we'll give Jack his whole separate segment here. But Jack, our host, who is also a TPW trainee, he never disclosed what the raffle prizes were. So the fact people were like, hell yeah, I'll buy a raffle ticket, just purely on the mystery, which again is based off of feedback from the last show where people said the raffle prizes were crap. So we went out of our way.
Which they were.
Yeah, they objectively were. They were very last minute. They were just like, what have we got around? What can we? Okay, you can have that, and that's the number one prize. So sure, they were crap, and people didn't really buy the raffle tickets. But then the fact that Jack was like, I'm not going to tell you guys what the raffle prize is, but you should get a ticket.
I feel like, yeah, he created mystery, definitely, but he just had no idea what the prizes were.
That might have also been leaking.
And that kind of created the mystery. That created the mystery even more because he couldn't lie or sound like he's lying about them being rubbish because he just didn't know. He was like, he did real well.
I don't even know.
As well, did old Jack.
I don't even know because I didn't see it in real time, and I don't even know if it was. I don't know if the raffle was filmed. I haven't bothered to watch that footage. I've only watched all the matches, but I feel like even when he was doing the raffle draw, he didn't tell anybody what they were winning until it was like number 371. Oh, that's me. You've won. There, like he didn't. Like there was no.
I hadn't realised that. Yeah.
Knowledge to what the prizes were until the person received the prize.
Can you remember what the prizes were?
So we had third prize was Colossus Wrestling sticker pack, 4 brand new, unique Colossus, cool Halloween themed. And
Are they still for sale?
They are still for sale. We don't have like a Colossus big cartel, so you just have to come to a show and come get them yourselves. £2 or all 4 for a £5. I don't think that's right. 3 for a £5.
You've got it now.
I'll fix it in post. Second prize was a 4-pack Colossus, 4-pack Colossus sticker set, and a box of chocolate truffles.
Sounds about right.
And first prize was a 4-pack Colossus sticker set and a bottle of Prosecco.
Oh yeah.
Come on. Which again, shout out to our man Adam from Budgeons, who sorted us out with the raffle prizes, actually. Again, I can't remember if I think it might have just been based off of his feedback, where he was like, raffle prizes were kind of shit, boys. Let me know when the next show is, and I'll drop some stuff off.
That's kind of what we want, though. We want some good feedback, but we also want an answer to the problem.
Yeah, solutions.
Bring us solutions. That's all we want.
Best part of the raffle was like the main prize of Prosecco went to someone who's sober. It was like, great, well done, good win on the raffle.
Hey, that's an easy Christmas present for them to re-gift.
Yeah, we've already drunk it.
Oh,
like we drank it with her last week.
Well, she didn't drink it. Was it yours that won it?
Yeah, sorry.
Of course. Oh, fix. Yeah, I mean,
I was going to say about Jack as well. Like, he did a really good job on hosting the whole thing. it's hard to do because, like, stop me if I'm wrong. Has he not like he's only done it a few times?
He did the showcase for us this time and last time.
I think so, yeah.
But that's his first. Like that's his first. Like, but we had to kind of sit down with him and say, like, the kid's never really watched wrestling. He does. He comes to training because he's really interested in like stuntman stuff. And I think his friend comes and has made him come. Like we did have to sort of like not teach him, but like guide him in terms of like timings and what to do here and there, because he almost had no clue about how like wrestling introductions not should happen, because if he did it good, like it could happen however you want it to.
Yeah, like we are just all so conditioned to it to be a certain way because that's like the only way we've ever experienced wrestling.
Which I'm fine with. Like, sorry, I'm fine with him doing something different. I actually like the fact that he is not a wrestling fan and could come out and do something else. He ended up doing was cool with a bit of guidance from us.
Yeah, I think like his flavor was just like so unique because he has no point of reference of how to be a professional wrestling MC at all. Like he doesn't have the cadence down to your classic like the next match is scheduled for 1-4, and then obviously there's a response from the room of like 1-4, saying it back, but like he doesn't know that, so he just kind of like so quickly brushed over that there was people in the crowd going what, and then like he'd already said something else, so he was talking over them, and they were like, okay, guess we don't do that here, which I know for a fact you love because you don't like that trope, but
yeah, absolutely. I hate 1-4. If I had thought about it, if I had the foresight, I would have said avoid 1-4. It doesn't matter. Of course it's 1-4. They're all fucking 1-4.
Wow.
But yeah, for his like first technically like official time of like if the like in front of like a real crowd and stuff, he absolutely rocked.
Yeah.
He definitely like fell into his flow by the end of it, sort of thing. If he was kind of maybe a bit like, if the nerves were there in the same way that like a trainee wrestler would be like worried on their first sort of match, then he definitely like found his like his foot by the end, which was wicked.
Can I do a little bit of like insight into my brain? Is that okay?
Do you want to know?
For both of us? Yeah. So if you haven't seen Pro Wrestling Colossus Invasion of the Body Slammers yet when you weren't there, then there was a table that I had to go buy. It's like some of the things I've been doing in my head is like working out the actual expense of a tables match that they have at shows. Like, because that one table cost me £35, and in a tables match, how many tables are they usually like littered around the ring? Like 5, 6.
There's no tables in World of Sport. I wouldn't know.
In a tables match, you'd only be going through the one table in theory, but I suppose like for the sake of anticipation, there would be multiple tables introduced with like maybe we'll go for this table, maybe we'll go for that. But I mean that's like big time. Yeah. That's like WWE. When you're in the Indies, you're literally just in this one communal table in the hopes that like whoa, we might go for it. Whoa.
Well, it's like somebody puts it up and then someone else puts it back down, puts it back under the ring, even though it's a tables match, pulls it back out. It's just like, okay, fine. Because I was just thinking, like, if it's 4, then it would cost, say, like, £140, no return, just for the tables. Unless we then, like, keep the other 3. And then I've watched enough wrestling matches to know that, like, one table will get accidentally damaged whilst trying to be put up. So it's like to actually do a proper tables match, and then if we go TLC, it's costing like 400 quid.
These lumber matches are not cost effective, especially not for Wrestling Colossus. Not the budget for Wrestling Colossus one bit.
Unless you're out there and you have some spare tables and wanted to donate some tables to us, we'll take them.
Because I will say 100% that like all wrestling fans, new and old, are always so bloodthirsty when it comes to like the minute a table gets like even introduced of just like, hey, get a load of that table over there. Everybody's like, put him through that table now. Which like, case in point, again, the match drops. Please go and watch it. We'd love you to share our content as much. But myself and Amber wrestled again 2 of the trainee, 1 TBW. We won't go into the match so much. I'll just briefly.
Don't put them over.
Just move on. But So had kind of like again, Adam was saying before about how he was dressed in the dinosaur outfit. He was stood by this table that he'd gone and bought, and we tried to make it look as much of part of the show as possible. It's just like covered in random Colossus related, Halloween related stuff, and then we'd go and fight over by it, and then kind of in the moment be like, should we put him through the table? Obviously, table, and then didn't. Then we left it alone. Then after the match, people have basically forgotten about this at this point, and that's kind of the point of it, where the rodents would jump me and Mambo afterwards, and then they go fetch the table, and then regardless, I think this is just like a universal thing of wrestling, that whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, people don't care. They just want to see the table explode. So when the bad guys threatened to go get the table, people weren't like, no, don't do that. They were like, yeah, hell yeah, table, kill him.
Do you want to know if
I've forgotten about with the table is we were doing the pre-show. Open it up like we did with the football. And my friend Charlie, who was doing the shop, said to me, oh, did you want me to screw it together? And I almost said no, because I was like, it doesn't need to screw it together. We didn't screw our one together. Thank God he just did it. Because obviously the boys had to pick it up and move it into the ring, which is like a difficult enough thing to do anyway, right? But with the table falling apart, Charlie saved the day there, and I found it until that moment.
And it's definitely one of those things in wrestling where, like, especially with a crappy pasting table, that like the aura is the wrong word, but like as soon as you start like fiddling around with the table, like the excitement and the bloodthirstiness of like, oh my god, somebody's gonna die, like just that like fever that like fans tend to get, all of that goes away when you're just going like, oh, do we put it like this? Do we put it like this? Does it go over here? Oh, the leg's falling down. Oh, just all of that. As soon as any of that like unintentional comedy stuff starts to happen, everybody kind of goes, oh, this is actually kind of funny now. This isn't cool. This is just haha, and then it just becomes a thing rather than like the badass table bit that's about to happen. But sorry, Adam, you were gonna say something?
I was gonna say, like, have I told you both my like it's real Partridge, but like my Partridge story about being in the dinosaur outfit at the end of your match?
What, where you got shoved over?
Yeah, but before that. So it's just like waiting for the moment to kick in, like waiting for you to win the, like, for the match to end and then whatever to happen. And this lady and her child were stood right in front of the table. Remember, I'm dressed as a dinosaur. And so it's this whole kind of thing of like just like try and get them out of the way, but try and not make it too obvious to anyone else that something's about to happen. So obviously I was leaning over, and for those that don't know the dinosaur outfit, like this is where my head would be. The actual head is like another foot on top. So it's leaning over, it's like, move out of the way.
I'm so
like, what's that, honey? And I could see them coming out of the ring, and they're still there. And I was like, oh, please sit in the chair. And she was like leaned in close, not to where my actual head was, but where the dinosaur head was. Like, would you like a chair, honey? And I was like, sit down, like, please move. And it was only like a few seconds before they got there that she decided to finally like move away. It's like, please just like get a bit of space. But I can't imagine what it looked like externally, because the dinosaur just had the massive smile and just like moving around. But it was just like internally so much panic of like this woman and her child are just going to be stood in the way, even like in front of the table, but then they would have moved to a potential like splash zone. They could have just decided to move to whereabouts I was going to fall. I hope it's on video, because I just want to know how stupid it looks, of just like this big inflatable thing constantly looking like with his little hands just being like concern. Never again. No more tables matches, thank you.
Because and that kind of brings me to, I guess that links up like what went wrong and talking about costumes. So and whether or not we should even bring this to the podcast, I don't know, but we're going to do it because it's a funny thing that happened. And so within the show, closing the first half. Sorry, you wanted to?
I was maybe put over some of the costumes first. There were some cool costumes there.
I was going to get that first. So, in actual fact, before I put over the people on the show's costume, it was actually so sick to see how many people, fans, came dressed up. Where like I think like a lot of I know I definitely was. I don't know if anybody else is feeling this, but I kind of got the impression that Margate might not really be up for dressing up, that people were just going to come. As much as we put it on the poster, again, we put it on all the socials, being like, fancy dress, absolutely encouraged. Please come in like Halloween regalia. But, we're on October 26th on a Saturday. Halloween is still like 5 days away. So I just want, and again, it's like we're trying to hit the family audience, but we seem to just keep getting a lot of adults coming, which isn't a problem. It's just a weird fact. But I was under the impression that we're gonna get a lot of like, oh no, we're too cool for it. But like no, clearly Margate is like up for a laugh because there were so many like really, really good costumes, like just decked out the room, made the atmosphere so much more fun where everybody's just like in a cool costume. And then who did we have in the Monster Mash Battle Royale sponsored by North Down Brewery? We had
my favorite was the I Like Turtles kid.
Do you think that was what he was going for, or he was just going for a skull?
I mean, he's a spitting image. It had to have been I Like Turtles. Yeah.
We had Johnny Wildman as the I Like Turtles kid. Livy Grace as a vampire. Jordan Saeed just as a pumpkin.
He was not happy though, was he?
Well, he says he wasn't. I can't remember. There was a rugby player, which I think was just like
that was poor. You did a bad job, kid. He was a rugby player, but who also was sent down to the pound shop to get a mask or something.
Yeah, I think he did come out in a mask though. He came out in a mask, whipped it off on the entrance, and then went in the ring.
He
and
did.
Was like, I'm a rugby player.
I told him to go to the pound shop to get a mask because I didn't think he had a costume. Well, he said he didn't have a costume. So when he comes out,
he was right.
He was a rugby player / he was pound shop store guy.
But I mean, that's
SJ Randall dressed up as a Teen Wolf.
That was sick.
It was a really badass costume, right?
That was good.
That was kind of like Adam Dinosaur levels of like, did you have that already, or did you buy that for this?
He had it already.
He had it already, of course.
Wait, did he tell me that? I asked.
But we had the I Like Turtles, or maybe just a skull guy. We had Xenothan, also just as a skeleton.
Yeah. He like skull mask
and skull face paint. Very cool. And then that brings us to
Terry, the insane T.
He actually has like objectively the sickest gear out of everybody.
It's really
on
cool.
The show. He just has the coolest gear. It's like Street Fighter, kind of like
white robe, right?
Yeah.
Flames.
He could just come as Ken or Ryu. If he just got like a blonde wig, that would have been like, oh, that's awesome. You are the guy from Street Fighter.
But what did he bring instead of a blonde wig, TK?
What was it?
This white gown that he had on.
So what he brought was a full ghost costume. So it was a big kind of opaque white gown, and then obviously you can't be a ghost with your normal head sticking out. You have to have a white mask on top. And yeah, whether or not I'm going to edit this into, because someone took a photo of Insane T stood there in this costume.
I didn't know if it was taken.
There is a photo, and I don't know whether or not to put it in the podcast or whether to just leave that in the mysteries of the ether and let people's minds put that together for themselves.
Let them fill in the gaps themselves.
I walked
Let them fill.
And they were all planning in a little circle in a huddle, and as the huddle dispersed, I saw Terry. I was like, Terry, you cannot wear that. I'm sorry. Just don't be the ghost today.
What we almost fell into here, people, is we almost had the Klansman debut on Pro Wrestling Colossus. We almost had appearance from the Grand Wizard himself, and bless him though, he is so like naive and innocent that he was like, "Why? I'm just a ghost. And it's like, oh, dude, you don't understand what you look like."
He is drummer in a band. He drummed in a band the night before, wearing that gimmick.
You're joking.
No,
You're joking.
Like it had already hit the streets of Broadstairs. They were into it
because he was so like.
Oh yeah, they would be. Yeah.
So the difference between like for those who don't know, like a Royal Rumble or a Battle Royale is like, you have like two people at the Royal Rumble, two people at the start, and then intermittently people filter out. We had a Battle Royal where it's just everybody we get all of the competitors out all at once, and then they fight, yada yada yada. So as late in the game as I think we had like 4 of the 8 people already in the ring at the time, and then SJ comes and finds me, and he's like, "You need to come and talk to Insane T because he's about to go out." And I was like, "I don't understand, what's the problem?" Run up to the to the group who are literally standing behind the curtain in like the order waiting to hear their music, and he's just there in his full ghost regalia, and it's just like, dude, you can wear the gown, you can't wear the mask, and he's in the mask looking at me going, but why? What? And I was like, dude, you just like you can't be in this match. I'll literally pull you from this match right now if you don't take that hood off. And then he was like genuinely really upset. So I did feel bad, but equally, obviously don't want the show to get cancelled. I don't want anybody snapping pics of that. But we were honestly so close to having our first like reform character on the show. Thankfully, he didn't do it though. He took the mask off, and we're in the clear.
Right,
but I just want people to know that that is the bullet we dodged on this show. Really good wrestler, really cool outfit. Bad ghost. Don't ever be a ghost again if you're watching this.
Bad ghost, man. Don't do it again. No more. What was good ghost though was Jordan as the Scooby Doo.
Yeah, I was glad we got to do our little team photo.
Good stuff. Really good picture. Hilarious that when Emily sent the message out of like, okay, I'm Daphne, Grace is Velma, we'll find Fred, Shaggy, Scooby, Jordan, you can be miscellaneous villain.
What I really like about that is that we didn't have a Fred. We didn't really. Oh, what were you? You were Fred.
I was Fred in the end.
We didn't have a Shaggy.
Yeah,
but we didn't necessarily have a Scooby. We didn't have any. Well, there were actual characters we didn't have, and I was still just miscellaneous ghost, villain unmasked #1. Cool, thanks, mate.
You just don't. You don't fit the criteria to be any of the other three that we had on the bill.
Smashed it. Yeah.
Thrown to one side, not needed. Just the villain.
I got to run around wrapped up in a rope for a few hours.
Though, again, just more good press for the show. Like the amount of people who have, and I say the amount like there's like a queue, but just like the 5 or 6 people who I'd seen since our show talking about our show, because like, oh, I saw you guys dressed up at the Scooby-Doo group. That was awesome.
Helps we had the dogs.
Did help, and even socials. It's quite wow. What a seamless transition.
Wow.
If we jump back, I know Adam was talking about the Margate one and the Northdown video.
Northdown Brewery.
The first video that we put together, and we do actually have like behind the scenes stuff, right, of it, painfully, but then the first video that we filmed in like July, so obviously that beautiful day,
wonderful. The first one.
This one was painful to
hard work.
Film.
I felt cold in my bones for days,
and just one of those like diminishing returns things, I think, where like it does make sense for us to keep doing this like ocean motif, because that's kind of the vibe we're going for with Colossus, right? Just trying to like really sell the seaside stuff. But man,
Rumble by the Sea, I get it now.
Shut up. But, like the sacrifices we're making for our art here, where it was just proper cold. I'm in Emily's like nurse outfit.
Emily was not around that weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, did she know you were using it?
No. She only found out when I was editing the video, and she was like, "Hey, is that my nurse?" I was like, "You don't mind, do you?" A bit late for that by that point, but no, off the hook. Obviously put it for a wash in terms of like doing it. But I just thought that it didn't. I guess this is always going to be the case with like the sequel is never as good as the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess like purely just to get eyes on us of like, hey, we're doing another show. It did its job, but then equally, like the first one was just. I guess because the first one was just so stupid that it was quite fun to watch, whereas this one was just I come out the water and then you tackle me. I don't know if it just didn't hit the same in terms of like what actually occurred in the video.
Yeah, like the first one had what do you call it? We're just fighting, right? We don't know we're on a beach, and then all of a sudden, yeah, like you say, the twist is we're in the sea. Like that's funny and it's different and it's weird. You can't really beat that like spontaneity.
But it's not like we planned for it either. It was just like this is an idea we've had.
It was nothing at that point. Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know if we're like, at what point do we decide to stop doing water-based videos to promote the shows?
I mean, probably December, right? That's where we
Yeah, I
start.
was gonna say for a little bit of time now, like let's just ease off it just for hypothermia. Like let's not do any like sea-based stuff.
I don't know if this is like a global warming thing or whether this is just how the seasons go, but it's normally like colder in January and February than it is
Absolutely.
like it's like peak winter in the new year as opposed to where it is now. Where it is also freezing cold, but it gets cold. Like December isn't where the cold cuts off.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so I guess like Adam, when you saw, obviously you already knew we were going to make this video, but when you saw the video, did you think that it was as good as the first one, or as like, I don't know, like did it advertise the show as well as the first one did for you? Do you think?
I don't know. Like the first one was so good because it's like I'm not going to go into too much detail about what I do for a job, but it's like what Jordan said. It was unexpected because you kind of thought it was just a fight anywhere, but then it wasn't. But with the one review coming out the sea was already there, so you kind of weren't expecting any like massive surprise from it. And I think that's the kind of what I really like about the North Down one as well. And I know I believe it might have been just like on a Facebook post, like it just kept on giving. So you either have like something that surprises you from where it's set, or it will just keep surprising you on how far you're going to go to a point that one of you was thrown into the actual vat where the beer was made. And I think that was kind of like why those two worked, and then the other one didn't. Because even though you're getting tackled into the sea, you already know it's the sea, and you already know that before Jordan was there. So it's kind of like that's kind of why, even though it was good because obviously you were dressed in an outfit like that, and that brings in ticket sales. But it was more to the point that like it just didn't surprise in that way. But I still think like all the videos are good.
Yeah, I don't think any of the videos we did were necessarily bad, and I guess it's just
Nah.
the toxicity of social media that like if a video doesn't do like it doesn't get X amount of likes for us or doesn't have X amount of views for us, I'm like, oh, okay, waste of time. We're never gonna sell like any tickets. But then that's not true because I think the way we promote, which is like unique and different, is through these like silly skit videos, and that just managed to hit basically the exact same number in terms of pre-sales. We just need to be pumping out content at all just to stay in the front of people's like minds of like, oh yeah, Colossus is on that day. I'm not doing anything. I'll come or I'll get a ticket, sort of thing.
Here's a sad thing. Like not everything hits. Like not every single video will hit. Like it's something that like I've learned recently is you could be doing hit after hit after hit, but that doesn't guarantee that the next one will do the same, even if it is like the same sort of content type.
Yeah.
It's just
That's my concern, is that like all the videos have had a natural progression. There's a little bit of a fight in the sea, then we had a bit of a bigger fight at the pub, and then I was concerned when filming the North Down one that we'd jumped the shark and it was too silly and there was too much fighting, and we filmed quite a lot, to be fair, didn't we? I felt like we'd maybe just gone a bit too far, and it was a bit, we fucked it. But actually, good reception.
It seemed like it, but then also we hit another. Again, I'm using words that I don't even necessarily understand what I'm saying, but like we hit a new demographic.
That's it. I was going to say
by collaborating, like like literally using the collaboration feature on Instagram with North Down. So now we're getting all of like the North Down Brewery drinkers seeing our stuff that like have never seen Colossus do anything. So there were the amount of comments that were on the video being like, oh, this is so fun, or like very funny, or someone was like, oh, this has actually kind of made me like uncomfortable and horny, and like,
yes, that was me
on your burner account.
on your burner again.
But like, yeah, between like, that video doing so well and the Margate FC video doing so well, I think just because it's like different content that like wrestling never taps into, like every other show, and like Adam, you especially know this because you write the briefs for our posters, but like and again, without patting ourselves too much on the back, but like the stuff that we're doing differently is getting noticed by different like local brands especially, and we can talk about that later. But again, we said it in the first podcast, like how helpful it is that like Adam and your brother just know every single person in Thanet, that we just are able to tap these different avenues and all these different like companies and brands that like are up for making a silly video, or like are up for having us make a silly video at our own expense.
Say that the Margate Football Club one. I mean, Josh is the captain, like one of the youth teams, but didn't ask permission really. He asked the parents, thankfully, and it was actually more of a, we got down there, filmed it, released it, tried to get Margate Football Club to acknowledge it for a while, right? And when they started seeing how good the response was to it, that's when they started sharing it, and have since said how much they liked it, right?
And want more. Like they want us.
All right, I gotta go. My Nando's is here. Like, that is legitimately what is happening. My Nando's has just arrived, and to check that I don't have COVID, I've asked for it hot, so I'll be able to know if there is actually anything that I'm eating. But yeah, good chatting. Lots to do. Lots to reveal for next year. What? But not. But also, yeah, but not. But yeah, but not.
Tomorrow's technology today. Again, for those of you who don't know, and I, with any luck, this would have had like a lot of post-production from me on the software that I used to put this podcast together, but there was like a whole 10-15 minute chat here where Jordan wanted to go have a wee, and then also wanted to go get another beer, and also grab his dessert that he thought would go perfectly with the podcast. Well, perfectly go paired with the beer.
It's not my dessert.
It's our dessert.
I brought
but also there was a whole 15-minute mid podcast chat, and obviously I've chopped all of that out now. But Adam wanted to go eat his dinner. Jordan wanted to get stuck into this. So I thank you very much for everyone who has stuck around for the rest of the podcast, where we so we're talking about we kind of with the success or lack thereof of the Colossus socials, and it's so chuffed.
Just let it defrost. Dig in when you want, mate. Look after you tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, well, so obviously we did the first video, which I think just kind of set the scene in terms of explaining, like, it's a Halloween show that, you know, both of us dressed up in silly costumes, still using the seaside motif to be like, and we're by the sea.
It was a play on what we'd already
done.
Very
very simple evolution from what we'd already done,
and with a clear message of we are coming back.
Yeah, and then. But there's no, like, I say and then, like, there was a natural progression between the videos, but there's not. They're just 3 individual videos that we filmed, similar to the first one where it was like beach fight, coffee fight, pub fight, and this one was just like announce the return and then do the North Down one, which we had already spoken to them before the first show, but like, it was just like, it was the week of the show that we didn't have time to, like...
Is it football then North Down?
I think it was the other way. I think it was.
I've got my table injury in the North Down video.
So it was Margate first.
I don't know what came out in which order.
But that actual progression, there's no like storyline that we're following in terms of like trying to promote the show. It's just literally what videos can we create to generate some buzz around the show.
Whose punters can we steal?
Literally. And then, I mean, this is what we were saying with Adam before about like the collaboration feature on Instagram with Margate FC and with who they didn't acknowledge it, mind you, so we didn't actually get any of that. But
they never.
It's still out there for them to collaborate with the post. But the North Down one demonstrated that, like, yeah, as soon as you get another brand or company's like approval, you get all of their people. What's the word? What is the word? Not. I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the really good thing about North Down is they're two, like, it's Katie and Johnny, who are two, like, I guess popular people. They know a lot of people. Like, we got into Johnny through my brother Josh. But then Johnny also seems to know my other brother Oscar. Like, he just seems to know everyone. Like, really good business people as well. They know loads of, or they have contact with loads of other pubs and businesses and food things. And so I saw lots of comments and like engagement and interaction from places I never thought we'd hear from, like other pubs, which makes sense.
Do you want to eat that?
I'm just rambling, but I'm just like, TK, just cut me off so I can eat this fudge ice cream.
Great.
Forgot I had it in my hand.
I've also literally just said what we do on socials, who it engages with, and what types of content people are interested in, because we still want to a point, cater to wrestling fans, where, like, as far as I'm aware, between the two of us, there's no real, like, the purpose of the show is to add an extra show for ourselves just to have more wrestling on the calendar, but equally give our guys at the school a platform to wrestle much bigger names than they would ever wrestle in TPW general, in their early days, formative years, some might say, to become better wrestlers. And it's not a slight on TPW, it's just literally, like, those are just the facts. TPW doesn't have the money or capacity connections to make that a possibility, and I think they're pretty realistic about that as well. So, and that's literally why we said let's do our own thing adjacent to what they're doing and give our guys an opportunity, a platform to, like, not necessarily like prove themselves to be like anything, but just like the opportunity for, again, an Alex Aces to work Connor Mills, the Rodents to wrestle me and Mambo, like more prolific names on more so Mambo than me. They see me all the time. It's not real to them anymore.
It was never about proving themselves. It was about the experience and learning from, and the amount that I have learned from just wrestling with more experience and better people, especially back in the day, is invaluable. And that's what our guys. So an opportunity to get better and get good.
Right. So when I'm saying like our socials are X and they achieve XYZ, like, I'm not even really realistically thinking. And again, when I'm saying like, oh, like that video didn't do very well, we're not gonna, like, I'm feeling kind of like, oh man, we're not gonna sell tickets and stuff. I'm not thinking that from a perspective of I want Colossus to become the thing that like makes us money. You know, like it's gonna be our main source of income. Obviously, I want it to pay for itself. Like I want it to.
That's the ideal.
Yeah, you know, just like and we're 2 for 2 so far, but all I really want it to grow is like for it to be a bigger platform for our guys. You know, I would love more people to come to the show so they can wrestle in front of 300, 400 people. Can we fit that many people in the room? No. But you know, if it ever gets to that point, like, oh, maybe we'll move to a big venue, but then all of that sort of like promotional growth, I don't think I'm really that focused on as a promoter, or necessarily that invested in making like I'm invested in making money as far as, again, the show paying for itself, but I'm not so invested in making money as it being like a profitable business. I know we're talking about like all the profit that we do make, hopefully put that aside and bring in a famous person, but just how all of that is relevant to what I'm trying to say is, like, when we're trying to grow this thing, I don't feel like we are trying to grow it for our own like personal gain or success. It's just to make it more visible in like Margate and Kent and make it more of a thing in the area.
Yeah, absolutely. Pride thing. We want it to be a good promotion. We want it to be good. We want, and by proxy, we want people through the door because that's what makes it good.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And then, so like that was basically brought me to my next point of the Rodents actually filming their own content that helped promote the show. And similarly, it didn't do very big numbers in terms of comparisons to our other videos that we did, but it gave the boys an opportunity to like cut a promo where like we don't do that very much, if at all, at the school. You know, we're so nuts and bolts there. Just like such a more focus on just like, we need you guys to just learn how to be wrestlers before we can like bother with all this other character work. But it was just really cool to see the guys fully just like, hey, we filmed this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that it did prove to be valuable, again, just because like the view count wasn't super high, or because the likes weren't super high. There were literally, again, a handful of fans that were aware of the stuff that the rodents had done, of like I was really looking forward to seeing their butts like get kicked. They didn't say that, but I'm trying to be nice for the I don't know why I'm bothering, because there's definitely just swearing in this podcast all the time. But the equivalent of like that sort of content clearly was valuable, and the way they'd done it was, again, so very Jack of them, that, you know, like just not how a normal "I'll see you on Sunday, you son of a bitch" like, promo. It was I assume they were their mates or just random people on the street. I don't know, just like holding up a picture of me and Mambo, kind of like, what do you think of these guys? Aren't they shit? We think they're shit. Useful for the show, because we do have fans who want to be invested in the product we're putting out there, which I think is like super fun, because now, you know, people are willing to kind of like let the inhibition come down and like play the role of fan and be immersed in the 3 hours that we're going to present to them, of like, this person is this person is this is why you hate this guy, this is why you like this guy.
The other thing is that they were main event of the second show, but they weren't on the first show, so it was good to like have an introduction. And like, they've done nothing as a tag team in front of anyone ever, right? Yeah. So it was good to have an introduction for them, or at least just not establish who they are, but just give an idea, an outline of, this is the team you're wrestling.
Yeah, this is like the personality of this is the personality of the baddies that are coming to town. You didn't get to see them on the first show, so they've gone out of their way to make this video so you know what they're like.
Yeah.
And then, so I think that's why, again, putting a lot of the guys on the spot on the day of the show, like asking Zen to do a promo on the mic in front of everybody. He didn't know that was going to happen. It was just literally, "Can you do that, please?" And then to just see what he came up with was just interesting.
Was it good?
Yeah, I thought it was good. And then all of the promos that we got people to do after their matches backstage, and then put that into the thing we're calling the Undertow now, which just, again, put everybody just kind of on the spot of like, tell us about your character. What do they think about the situation they're in? And then just like, the red light's on. What you got?
Because they weren't bad.
Yeah, none of them were bad at all. Some of them were a bit long, but you know, when you put on the bit of paper, it doesn't need to be any longer than 30 seconds. And people just going on like 2-minute Shakespeare. But no, it's not a problem. If anything, it's good that you've got so much to say that you aren't like frozen. But purely just from a fan service perspective, I think, without knowing as well, because this is all like after the show, after the fact stuff, that people are saying like, oh, like, it was good to see this video because now I know.
That's what I was going to ask. Has there been reaction?
Again, not loads, but
Undertow?
like 2 or 3 people just being interested in it. That's all, that it just contextualizes the show. Like they want to play along with our soap opera. That they want to know more about like the characters.
That's wicked.
Goings. So.
Yeah. I mean, like, nobody's lost anything by putting it out there.
Yeah, like the show hasn't lost any value because we created this thing, but we've again given the guys an opportunity to add another layer to whatever they're trying to create. And yeah, it feels like I'm just trying to pat ourselves on the back of like, look at this thing we did. But but again, without kind of,
we are good.
Yeah, we are actually really, really good now I think about it. That's a great point. Don't you think, Adam? Say nothing if you agree. There you go. But think, you know, everyone's always going to say how much like effort or time you need to put into like your social media in terms of like creating a brand, creating a character. And I feel like that stuff like is important for people who want to be professional wrestlers, but it isn't like the most essential part of your like character creation when you're so early in your wrestling journey, like so many of our guys are. But to give them the platform to wrestle your Millses, your Mambos, your other people, David Francisco, and then also ask them to, can you please cut a promo? It's just all these extra layers that we don't really have time for at training, but to just kind of like drop them in the deep end and see what happens.
Yeah.
But
they all watch,
exactly.
They all watch wrestling.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They don't all watch wrestling.
Helpful. Well, I hope it's all helpful for their journey. I'm watching it being like, this is awesome. But I suppose I would think that because I'm the one facilitating it, being like, I like this.
There are babies as well.
Yeah.
They? Like we've put them out in there. So shit. Maybe we're not.
It wouldn't go online, but we'd be proud of them. But then with advertise, so I feel like we are really good at advertising ourselves, but we can't, like, two shows out of two shows, Emily has written up a little, I don't know what you call it, like, it's not a social media plan, but like, she's written this email and sent it out to like every single publication in Kent, with like little is like expected, I guess. Where like last time it got me on BBC Kent, which was cool. Got your article in the Isle of Thanet.
Rotten.
And then this time we actually put money and put the poster on the Isle of Thanet's like website, where like they say the traffic is like it's like over 1 million clicks a day, but I suppose when the poster is just on that side like advertising poster, it just becomes like wallpaper where people are just like used to not looking at those bits because they know that's where the advertising is.
Do it again.
I don't know, because it's hard to know whether it did or didn't have an effect.
Next time we'll ask Jack to ask the audience. Did anyone see?
Where did you see the poster to know to buy tickets?
Also ended up doing
Kent TV or
TV.
Yeah.
You do their own wrestling.
Yeah. But like because I thought the interview was like really professional, really, really good. Like the host knew what questions to sort of like ask to get us to answer interestingly.
He was in a proper chair and everything.
It's like an actual TV studio.
A desk and studio, lights.
But just
and
like
makeup
that video.
I was at work.
Yeah, that
My
video
boss's desk.
was like, that video was just again so poorly received, and I don't think anybody watched the organic, like where the video actually came from, and people definitely didn't watch the video we posted of our segment on the show. So I don't really know, and it didn't cost them anything, didn't cost us anything. It was just communal airtime for all of us, but
wasted.
Yeah, in a way, it just seemed like we didn't get anybody saying like, "Oh, I saw you on KMTV. That's why we come to the show," or "That's why we bought tickets because that's where we heard about it." So I don't know whether we were just like talking into a black hole.
I don't think we're in a position to say no to that kind of.
Yeah,
I don't think we should be like, no, we won't do that. But I definitely think it gave us nothing. That's not to say that next time we do it, it won't give us everything. So it's definitely worth doing. We're not in a position to say. Good, right?
There's a bit of like trying to rush in to like again help promote the show in more of like mainstream channels was Don't Miss Margate, where Suji interviewed me.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. But like it was like a 15-20 minute chat on Instagram Live, and again I thought it was like a good like positive chat with someone who clearly doesn't know anything about wrestling. So it's
like to know, right?
Yeah, clearly like open-minded, obviously wants to like engage with what we're doing.
Asked really good questions.
Yeah, very.
Because that's sorry to derail a little bit, but like she asked good questions and you had a good conversation with the KMTV guy. He asked a question, and you're really good at this. Just giving the information you want to give. You're just like, good question. Anyway, so the show is this. Like, it just didn't go in the right direction, whereas she like definitely just wanted to know what was going on.
Well, I mean, I can't take too much credit for it. You gave me the inspiration when you said when in your interview things she wasn't necessarily talking to you about things you wanted to talk about the show. So you just spoke in David Brent headlines to just try and like push the conversation about stuff you want to talk about. So basically, I that's pretty much how I approach all of this Colossus stuff now. Is anytime they want to talk about like, so how did you get into wrestling? I'm like, well, nobody cares about that. What we want to talk about is the show on the 28th of blah on this day, yada yada yada.
Newsflash.
Yeah. All of that stuff that just like, because to be fair to people like that, they literally don't know anything, so they want a baseline conversation. But I am just like, I know time is precious here, so what I want to talk about is what I want to talk about, and let's talk about that. But like the Don't Miss Margate thing again, I actually thought that one was really, really good. I thought she was like just held a conversation with me so well, was actually genuinely so interested in what we were doing, was actually trying to help promote our show.
The show though,
no idea. But I mean, she platformed us on her thing, so like she did more than enough. But again, it was just another video from like a third-party source that just did not seem to give us any more traction or any more interest or intrigue. Nobody was. But again, all of these things are impossible to properly like measure because you don't actually know at what point somebody saw like an interview with me, an interview with us, and was like, I'm not going to buy a ticket right now, but now I've heard about this, I am interested.
I don't know what the reaction to that video was because she would have posted it after it was live, right? But I was on the live one. I was sitting in the car park at the gym, watching, and the people watching were, it was me, it was my little brother, Billy Adams, who's in the main event. It was Bacon Chin Adam, who's your business partner. It was didn't necessarily have the people watching. It didn't have her people watching.
Right.
Mm. Are we going to do it again?
Well, I think even as we record this now, regardless of like when this comes out, you will have seen. We've already announced it. We've already announced it.
We announced it at the show, right?
We announced it at the show to a wonderful reception, and then in the newsletter, announced it as well, and like dropped the ticket link. Again, as far as you're aware, miscellaneous viewers, all we put out on public socials is a save the date. But for the keen-eyed of you, you would have seen on all of our socials that the ticket link is already there. You can already buy tickets to Pile Driving Home for Christmas if you want to.
Banging name.
Again, yes.
It was rhetorical. I knew we were doing it again.
Great. I don't know, because I can't tell if it's an all publicity is good publicity thing, or whether particular publicity is good publicity.
No, I don't think I'd do anything differently. I think we obviously talked on the last podcast about when we started promoting and when we started postering and stuff, and I think we did the right thing in waiting kind of a couple of weeks before the show, really.
Yeah, because that was like the feedback we'd gotten from other people with like, and this wasn't wrestling related, it was like, oh, when my band plays, we usually do 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, I don't know, that we need our thought at the time was like, no, we need to get it out there. But like, it was objectively true that we didn't start selling tickets until 2 weeks beforehand.
But having said that, like, I feel like it's very different this time in that we are running a show on the 28th of December. Like, people are going to be coming home for Christmas. People are going to be around. People are going to be with family. People are going to want to be planning stuff, doing stuff
ahead of
time. So I do think that earlier we can get things out there, the better, maybe.
Yeah, which again is like the completely the reason we're running this show on that day is because we are aware of that situation, that so many people come home for Christmas.
Yeah,
there's going to be so many more bodies around looking for something to do. In the holiday period that isn't just like, shall we go for a walk? Because I've had loads of roast.
Yeah, exactly, and like nobody's really at work. Like, so we can almost guarantee, or I hope that like the team we had this time will be there again. Like we had Emily on camera.
Yeah, which like again isn't normally her
role.
No. It's purely because it was Matt Raven's 40th, and he was like, sorry guys, the family have stuff planned.
Happy birthday, Matt Raven. 40 fucking years old, though.
4 years young. Yeah.
4 years young.
And, we had your mates, Charlie and Sash, in the shop this time.
They smashed it.
They were unreal, actually.
Just in terms of like
hidden gem, those two.
Tell me about it. They just like took it and ran with it, didn't they?
For like simple job, there was like not that people.
You can fuck that job.
I guess
They had a system. Every time I went back there, Sash was throwing feedback at me. This guy wants this. Like, oh, people are asking for this. Like that guy over there has asked for raffle tickets 4 times. Like every time I went past she was just on the ball. Charlie was on the ball. He is a vegan, and we asked him to cook hot dogs. Job's
the job.
Job's the job. Did it with a smile on his face. Those two.
He doesn't have to eat. Serve them.
Oh, I do have a story. He broke his veganism. I think he ate a hot dog. Grace told me.
Oh,
yeah. So
because he was so hungry, he had to eat something, or he just like smelled it and was like, "That smells delicious. I would like a lossy saucy."
Tell you what, I'll save that story for the next one. I'll film Charlie, and Charlie can tell you the story himself.
He doesn't. I would say he doesn't mind being outed, but then like
I've outed him.
He's not going to watch this, is he?
So... he watched the last one. Yeah, I think he's just a podcast fan. So
because this only comes out on YouTube, I'm not.
I ate a hot dog, so I'll get the juice on that. Find out.
Nice.
Save it for the undertow. But they smashed it, man. It was so good.
But like jobs like that, I think we like Adam's actually already made us like a Google Doc to like assign people roles for the day, because like I mean that was like our own feedback on ourselves after the first show, that we didn't have certain people doing X, Y, and Z, and then this time around we were more onto it, where we just like had already allocated people to, can you please do this, can you do this, this, of just like all these like auxiliary roles that we don't have time to also do.
Yeah, we did have more bodies on the first show. Just
I mean, I don't really know. I guess it's like an open question. Is there anything you think we should do differently? Just at all? I don't know whether that's like. I mean, obviously the presentation has to be different because we can't do Halloween, but that's not like necessarily what I'm talking about here. And then even I suppose like maybe I'm thinking like, do we move the entrance? But I think like we're quite like set on where the entrance is for now. Anyway, I think when it comes, as the show keeps growing and we have to like find more space for people around the room, and for anyone who hasn't seen the shows, we do it theater style, so we just have the crowd all on one side. On the first show we had like around the corner, but we just needed more space. Was we put the ring in a position so that the top rope was usable this time around, because that was like the problem last time, where I mean particularly for me, where like to do the shooting star off the top, which like for people who don't know, jump off the top, do the back like forward facing backflip, land on someone. But there was like no way I could even stand up on the top turnbuckle.
I didn't get to
in the first show. Yeah. People. Whereas this show, we specifically put the ring in a position so that at least 2 of the turnbuckles were top ropeable, and then that meant that we had to give up that side area for seats. But you know, as the show keeps growing, we're gonna have to keep maneuvering the ring around a bit to make space for more chairs, and maybe it gets to a point where we start selling a standing ticket. I don't know. Or do we just move to a different venue? I don't know. All of those problems, you know, come to it when we have to deal with it. But for now, it's just. But other than that, I'm not really sure in terms of like doing things differently. Because what else did we change? Our advertising period. Again, we already talked about that. Like we jumped it up to closer to the time of the show because we've learned nobody cares. But then equally, there was feedback from people being like, no, you need to like put stuff out sooner so we can make like plans for it. So it's hard, like weird, like neither is wrong, but neither is like completely right.
A lot of opinions. I don't care about. Last podcast, we manifested some donuts. We said at the next show I want some donuts, and lo and behold, donuts appeared. What do you want to manifest for the next show?
If I couldn't have more donuts,
let's just assume Adam is bringing donuts anyway.
Sure. I think I'd still be really happy to get pizza. Again, this isn't necessarily for ourselves. I think just like, and this sounds like I'm bullshitting, but like to kind of, I don't want to, because I don't want to say increase morale because it implies that the morale is down.
I know exactly what you mean though. You want Colossus to be a place that the boys want to come down to, and I think people do.
Boys, colloquial term, obviously, boys and girls.
We enjoy all
the people.
Yeah,
the roster.
Like
the fact that we have already gotten to a point just by having show 2, and again, I don't know how much of this is David trying to make a bigger deal out of something that isn't. But he, you know, we take the group photo both times, and then when we post it, everybody wants to share it because it's a nice photo. Like everybody just there, like this is the gang. We're doing this thing. David Francisco shared it. Obviously, he was on his honeymoon, couldn't make show 2. He shared the photo, and he captioned it FOMO. So,
I mean, he would know. He was there on the first one. He would know.
So the fear of missing out is I do think genuinely real, but whether he was genuine with his comment, I'm not sure. But I could imagine it would be because of how good the first show was, and then equally how much fun the second show was. I can only imagine what this third show is going to be like in terms of atmosphere. In front of the curtain, behind the curtain, like there's just a really like willingness from everybody to really make it a good show.
Yeah.
So like everybody's working hard to give the fans a good show, and it seems like the fans really come out with the intention to have a good time. Nobody comes and sits on their hands and then goes home and nods to themselves and goes, "I did have fun." Like everybody comes and like just again like lets the wall come down and just have a bit of a laugh, which I think is great. I wouldn't say do differently, but like, are there other? I mean, you said. To be fair, yeah, you didn't. You asked, so I said pizza. What are you thinking?
It's going to be the 28th of December. I'm going to be full of mince pies. I'm going to be full of chocolate. I'm going to be full of meat. Oh wait, full of turkey. What more am I going to want to really put in my body?
It's actually a good point. It makes me want to rethink the pizza thing. Where like in general, I think Colossus could benefit from pizza, either being sold or just backstage for everybody. But on the Christmas show in particular, maybe just a bowl of fruit.
Yeah. Bring us pears.
Is there actually anything you were fishing for in your?
Definitely not. No, I just thought situation opportunity arises. You know, we did throw something out last time. We got it.
Because you just never know who's listening to this or who's watching it, because it is just on the internet. So the chances
I'll take more
of
bookings.
Cool.
If that's the case, I am available.
Are there any particular brands in Margate or Thanet that you think we haven't reached out to, or that Adam and your brother don't personally know that we don't have a contact with?
I mean, who do they not know?
That's true.
I said it last time, maybe. I'd love to do something with the Crab Museum. I think they're very good at their social media. They're very good at marketing. Ultimately, it's a museum for crabs where there are no crabs. Like, that shouldn't be cool, right?
Is that true? There's no crabs?
There's no crabs in the
Oh,
crab
there's
museum.
skeletons of crabs, or
The shells of some crabs, maybe.
right?
More just information. So that shouldn't be cool, right? But it's cool as fuck. And because they're so good at that, like, that would be a really. I want their punters. Yeah, I want their
fair.
audience
Crab Museum.
coming for you. Untold amount of pubs in the area.
There really is. Yeah,
They know us.
yeah, they've seen us there enough.
They've seen us.
Because there is an. Well, I mean, we've already spoken about like we might revisit the Margate FC thing with a different group, but then you just wonder. Oh, I don't know. It's the same thing as like you were saying. Did we jump the shark with the fighting at various spaces?
Yeah.
Like if we immediately go back to Margate FC, is it just like it's too expected of us to do another Margate FC one? Even though I think it would hit again. Obviously, we'd come up with a different like theme.
I mean, obviously it would
but yeah, but would it not be as engaged with because people are like, oh, it's like last time. Whereas you got to like leave it for a couple of times before you
that's
circle
exactly
back.
why I think we should leave it. I think like we're talking over the natural progression, it would be really cool to do the actual Margate Football Club grounds. Do they call them grounds?
Yeah.
However, it's just we've done that.
Yeah.
Like we know other people, we know other things.
Yeah, we've got like other sports teams that like might be interested in again, but I can't tell you. We got to just wait for it to come out. We haven't filmed it yet, but you know it's on its way. And then we've got other. We've never had this before, but we've got other restaurants that are actually for the first time ever. Someone has again. We haven't existed for long enough for these things to be that exciting. I think, but maybe that's the reason it's more exciting is the first time someone's actually come to us and said, "We love what you guys are doing on socials. Can we do a thing?" And
it's a cool as well, isn't it? It's not just it's cool.
It's what was I going to say? Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, a great addition to your thought. But just the fact that exists now that we have grown this thing to the point where other Margate creatives have seen our thing, and you know, like wrestling fans will know that wrestling is already such a niche that to get other people interested in it is already so tough because there's just such a stigma behind wrestling. But the fact that like our stupid style of promoting our shows has brought someone to us and said, "Can you do that?" But to our thing is wicked.
Absolutely.
And again, we'll just leave that carrot dangling there. But you know, you'll when you see it, you'll know. You know, you make sure to like it, share it, comment on it, please. Just a crumb of engagement is all I ask from every single post we ever do. Fire emoji, that'll do. That's enough for me. Just to actually no, just to know that someone's commenting because I told them to. What do I want it to be? The fast forward emoji, because nobody uses that.
No.
What's that?
Yeah, I didn't know there was such.
Exactly. If you comment the fast forward emoji on all of our stuff going forward, I will know that you're a real supporter of Pro Wrestling Colossus and what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve here for the boys and girls in Thanet and beyond. And to be honest, speaking of the boys and girls in Thanet and beyond and the show, if you want to be a part, if you're a worker out there, and we get like, I think on the first show anyway, we got like quite a few DMs and stuff, and I think it's quite normal, it's quite natural for people to reach out to a promotion because that's the hustle, isn't it, of like how you grow as a worker, is getting on more shows and just offering. But if your only like thing that you're offering to us is, I would like to get more work, it's kind of it's useless for us. It's just has no usefulness for us at all as a promotion where we have lots of people who it would be nice for, but like
it doesn't speak to the goal, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't really help. Like explain to me what your value is, and we will more seriously consider your message.
Can you get Alex Aces over?
On the budding wrestlers out there, but just like there aren't spots on our shows because we've got so many trainees that we're trying to get an opportunity on the show.
Come train.
You know, yeah. If anything, the best way to become part of the Colossus roster is come train at the TPW Academy with Jordan and I. Otherwise, we'll find you. You know, we'll come to you. Not to say that you aren't a valuable member of British wrestling as a whole, but for our little thing that we're trying to help build, unless you're a Scotty 2 Hottie level famous wrestler, I'm not really sure what we can offer you.
I'm glad you said that because Scotty 2 Hottie probably listened to the first part and thought, "Oh fuck it, I can't give him."
He was like, "Oh, guys."
I'm glad you slipped that in there.
But just for reference, anybody who is interested in wrestling on Colossus, that's basically the criteria that you have to tick. Can you sell loads and loads of tickets? That's it. That's actually the one criteria.
Yeah. care about anything else, just money in it.
Yeah. Again, the shows don't pay for themselves, guys.
Just make us rich.
So too in the books, I thought you wanted to do like a wedding style, like hands crossed thing.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Once again, thank you very much for facilitating this like hour and a half ramble between myself, Jordan Breaks here, Adam when he didn't have Nando's, and please, if you have enjoyed it, make sure to give this video a like. Tell someone else to watch it because hopefully it will help them be a better wrestler. I don't know how, but maybe. And or actually, if you're out there, share this with another Margate brand or publication or company because we'd love to keep diversifying what we're doing here. We'd love to keep growing the show. What I have said a million times is I really want to get this big vinyl banner that just has the logo on it so we can like just when they're trying to get a new canvas, let's get to it, not just like give us money, but like in a way to like thank you for being a part of it. And I think like that is kind of the ethos of Colossus, is it's like a community thing. We're all working together to create this thing. It's all supposed to be mutually beneficial. But yeah, any other Instagram and Facebook, you Colossus on X. Nah, it's called Twitter. Shut up, it's Twitter. Do you have anything else to plug?
No, I've already said book me. Yeah.
Couldn't be any clearer than that.
Yeah.
All right. For
really good.
for Bernardi Roche, Jordan Breaks, and Emily Rowe as well, of course, and me. Thank you so much for supporting Pro Wrestling Colossus. We'll see you December 28th at St. John's Hall. Nice. This again. This is a constant ramble, but there is a bit on Jordan's entrance where it. Charlie Brown, and then just starts walking around the ring. It's just so random.
I was just making sure people knew that what I was.
But I'll leave you with that, everybody. Thank you so much. Rumble by the sea. Feel